Dude, let's talk about this special counsel report thing that just came out.
That we were going to do that before we peed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Special counsel report on Biden.
Yeah, so these Afghanistan documents, these top secret Afghanistan documents that were supposedly held in his garage, as you'd say, there's photos of how it was. It was just an open box in the middle of the garage.
Wasn't it in his Corvette or something?
I'm not sure. The photos that I've seen are just an open box with like files in, like you just have lying around here that need to be cleaned away.
I think he had one of those boxes in the back seat of his Corvette.
Well,
or in the trunk
there it
of
is.
His Corvette. Yeah, there's his Corvette.
Well,
that's a Corvette that doesn't even have a back
See
seat.
the Corvette, I guess. Yeah.
So he's got
That's
that's a fucking dope Corvette. That's like my year. I love that year.
that's pretty nice.
So the classified docs were found in his garage, where his Corvette was. So
Yeah.
that's the box right there. That's it.
Yeah.
Just
So
and what's in those things?
Classified Afghanistan documents. I think it was from earlier
Oh my
in
God, you could read them.
garage box after repackaging, January 3rd, 2023.
So did he forget he had them?
So that's the argument. And the thing that most people are jumping on to do with this report isn't that. It's the assessment that I think it was her that's the dude that did it. It was the assessment of his mental state.
Yeah.
Basically, yeah, Mr. Herr suggested that Mr. Biden's memory was failing and questioned some of his actions, even though the special counsel had found no basis to prosecute the president. The issue that he says, basically, in the report is, if you tried to prosecute this guy, Mr. Biden would likely present himself to the jury as he did during our interview with him, which is as a sympathetic, well-meaning, elderly man with a poor memory. That's literally what it says in the report.
Yeah.
Well-meaning elderly man with a poor memory. So basically, you can't prosecute this guy because he's not compos mentis, but you can let him run for the president of the United States in November. So that's the world that we've managed to get into.
But don't you think that that's a ruse?
What do you
That
mean?
him running for president? I think
You don't think he's going to run?
No. I think they're going to get rid of him. I think they're going to move him out. They're going to force him to step down. That's what I think. If I had to guess, and it's just speculation, I'd say they're setting up Gavin Newsom for it. That's what I say. That's what I think. That's what it looks like to me. I think the more and more comes out about this stuff, and more comes out about the Burisma thing and the Penn State thing, where the Chinese donated money to Penn State, and then he got $1 million a year gig where he didn't even have to show up. That's old school. That's like mafia stuff. Was it $1 million a year? How much was it that he got from Penn State? And he was telling people he's a professor at Penn State. Like he never even went there. Didn't teach one class. Look, some of it is part of it's fun. Like if he wasn't the president, it would be really fun because he's like always making stuff up. He calls people the wrong name. Talks about someone that's dead. It's just it's constant.
It was Penn, not Penn State.
Penn State. Excuse me, Penn. Yeah. Was paid $1 million a year to teach, but never taught a single class. Yeah, University of Pennsylvania. That's what it is. That's a mob job. I've had a friend of mine who had one of those jobs. He didn't have to really go to the Javits Center.
like an honorary
he
thing.
got a gig. He was a mob guy. He got a gig. He got a gig. And there was if you had made a union negotiation back in the day, like we're talking back in the day, they would throw in a bunch of no-work jobs. So no-work jobs were part of the thing.
It's just a little sweetener on top.
Yeah, so if you're a mob guy and you're connected to some construction company, they would find companies that they would buy into and own pieces of so that they could kind of funnel their money out. They could say, I'm in the construction business or I'm in the sanitation business. They always had something that they were attached to. But they had no-show jobs. You got real money, got a real fucking salary, a real paycheck every week. And you never did shit. You didn't do a goddamn thing. You never went there. You're just a mob guy.
I can't help feeling kind of sad about how difficult it must be to be Joe Biden. Like, if you're this dude who is, what the fuck are they pumping him with? Like, he is...
Fun stuff.
He's having a great time. Like, first thing in the morning, Mr. President, come in for your happy pills or whatever. Yeah, exactly.
Fucking IV testosterone and cocaine right into his system.
So you think, this guy who's holding on as best he can, like trying to get through the presidency, and there's all of this scrutiny, and people are making jokes about him, and he's got the fucking his team are like, oh, let's put a fucking meme out of him with red eyes after the Super Bowl, and then he's got to deal with all the rest of that stuff.
What is that?
And then it just makes me feel like, fuck, like that must be really rough to be that guy, to actually be the human that is Joe Biden. That must be really fucking like, I don't know, you're going to be aware, you're going to be self-aware of the fact that you're failing, that your mental faculties aren't there, and you're like being pushed, and just this RPM's being pushed higher and higher, 8,000, 9,000, 10,000.
I bet he doesn't do much. I bet the cabinet takes care of everything. I bet the press secretary makes all the tweets. I bet they dope him up. Every now and then they make him talk, and they probably give him a lot of amphetamines or something. They probably give him something to make. I don't know. It's offensive. It's amphetamines. I would imagine if I was.
That's
if
you
I was
using your
do,
Hitler model
yeah,
to.
What I was going to do if I had a guy like that, and they said, "Hey Joe, like this guy's he's really out of it." Let's pretend it's not Biden. It's some other guy that has to go and speak in front of people. He's really old, and like okay, he could die. He could die if you do this. But what I would say is, like, let's start banging him up with testosterone. Give him like a good dose. Like, ramp him up slowly. We want to get him up to like 30-year-old levels, and then some kind of amphetamine, and then a big nootropic stack, like a heavy stack. Theanine, acetylcholine, alpha GPC. Yeah, let's stack shit. And I want like multiple modalities. I want a bunch of different ones coming out, mushroom ones, all kinds of stuff. We got to do our best here.
The adaptogens, we've got everything going in there.
And then we're just got to break things down on cue cards. I mean, we can do this, and that's what they've done. They've definitely done the cue cards part. Like, there's photos of his cue cards, like stand there, say brief remark. Like, it's all capital letters. Have you seen those?
No.
He holds on to them, and then they take pictures of it, and they zoom in on the picture, and they go, look what it says.
God.
See if you can find that, Jamie.
Yeah,
it's like you shouldn't have, like, this is his card, the secret. Presidential cue cards. Oh, he has cue cards for staff too. That makes sense. But there was a cue card that he had that they were reading while he was on stage, where he was giving some sort of a presidential address. It was like,
you enter the Roosevelt room and say hello to participants. You take your seat.
You give brief comments. All caps for the you.
Man, I feel so bad for him.
That's amazing.
I feel so
It's
bad
amazing. Well, he just can't keep a thought in his head when he starts talking about things. He forgets what he's talking about all the time. He goes, well, whatever. He just says, well, whatever, and just drifts off.
So he did this after the report came out. He did this emergency press conference, which wasn't, I don't think, a particularly good idea.
How did it go?
I would say suboptimally. Someone said...
Did he fail to impress?
Someone asked him, how good is your memory? And he said,